All right, we just wrapped up round 3 at Worlds, and my goodness, it is electric, it is awesome, but with the good, there's most certainly a lot of bad, so let's bring all the news and recap about what happened so far. Alright, I'm literally recording this in the middle of the night before round 4, so I'll probably not be including much of the footage from league cards because it was basically impossible to film. So what you see is probably just going to be highlights of what I filmed because I spent the last 3 days filming, and let me tell you, it is a grueling process, especially when you do it solo. But starting with the issues, first one being cell reception. This probably couldn't have been a worse cell reception. I know all the viewers of this event have probably noticed that, but as somebody on site, it is insane. There is literally no point where I can load up any scores besides maybe a couple points in the entire New London course, making it basically impossible to figure out what is going on in the entire tournament. So I'm just left guessing. All the fans are left guessing. You're not even supposed to be using your phone. So it's like this weird gray territory where you're like not supposed to be able to check scores. And then on the stream side, it is incredibly blurry. But what's worse than that is that I've seen reports that there is literally outages and black screens going on for a bunch of people, making it literally impossible to watch the stream. And all of that is terrible, and I'm honestly not surprised because this is a very densely wooded area. But to go on top of this, there's been a bunch of things that have cost customers, vendors, and even players a huge amount of money, making it seem like a not great value for all those involved. Now, I'm not even sure what I'm allowed to say here, but I'll just say that a lot of players and vendors were not enthused about the amount of money that they had to pay for certain events at Worlds. Again, this is alleged, but I do think this is going on. But the last major issue before we get to recap is time violation. And this is something that we've seen time and time again, literally. But of course, it has to be Gannon Buhr. On I think hole 10, which is like the last string of holes that he birdied, he was given a time violation warning. So this effectively means, hey, you took a little too long. Let's make sure we don't do that on future holes. That way we can keep a fast pace of play. And with Gannon being on chase card, there was effectively only one card that would be hurt by this, and they were so far behind that it was never an issue. And knowing how Gannon plays, he's kind of forced himself to need that amount of time to get through his mental prep to throw a shot. So if he doesn't have that, his entire game is kind of frazzled, and that was very evident in the back 9, where he cards 2 bogeys after that 1 birdie, after he was given the time violation warning. And now, as far as I know, he was never given a true stroke penalty. But let me tell you, the guy that was judging time was on his butt like nobody else. Every single time he took any shot, you could tell the official had his phone ready with a timer going. Now, obviously, this is incredibly stressful for a moment where you need to have so much concentration and so much prep, and it is really difficult for it not to seem like it is kind of being targeted towards Gannon and nobody else. Because let's say you're on 5th, 6th, 7th card, are you getting that? Probably not. Let's say you're on league card, are you getting that? Probably not. So this notion about Gannon taking too long is obviously true. He is definitely going over the 30-second boundaries, but in the spirit of Worlds and wanting just great disc golf to occur, I do not think this did anything to help disc golf. It only hurt it. And by hole 15, I think it was, Gannon literally said, I have no time to get in rhythm and throw the shots that I need to. Something along those lines. And I was there filming while this occurred, and it really felt like Gannon was being targeted. And I truly think there's almost nobody else that would get called on this besides one specific player that I won't mention. And so it really makes me want to just do away with the notion of 30-second rule, because yes, Gannon is taking a while, but I think it's fine in the context of Worlds and needing a little bit extra time at New London because it is such a difficult course and you really need to concentrate. But with that said, let's get into the recap, starting with FPO. Now, a name that I thought was going to be out of it, but still kind of is, kind of isn't, is Kristen. With just a series of lackluster rounds, it really didn't seem like anything was going well for her, with 9 out of bounds, currently 12 strokes behind the leader, and it feels so crazy that it was almost even more than that because she had a great round 3, going from even to 5 under. And honestly, her putting is totally fine, with 90% circle 1 and 25% circle 2. So it really is just getting off the tee, staying in bounds, and I don't really know how else to put this, but just a general sense of like lower confidence to throw an upshot close to the pin. It seems like for whatever reason, the things that she does so well again and again are just not clicking in this event. But with that said, even though she is 12 strokes behind the leader, I think there is a world where she could potentially clutch up and the people leading could fall apart. Definitely not likely, so Kristen winning this is probably not going to happen. And another crazy circumstance is Kat Merch, who took a double, triple on holes 5 through 7 today, looking like she was totally out of it, and then follows that up by going 8 under. Absolutely insane, putting her at 10 under, still well short. But again, like Kristen, if the leaders fall short, there is a world where she could potentially win, but again, probably not very likely. So we get to the top 2, Evelina and Holland Hanley. Now, Holland has just been playing playing smooth, confident disc golf the entire weekend. It never really looked like anything was shaking her, besides an early couple of bogeys and an even back 9 on round 3. But other than that, she has been amazing, super confident, her putts are looking really good, really dialed, and a set of 3 holes at New London has just been her saving grace, carding 4 eagles on holes 7 through 9. In the other hole, she went par, which is obviously insane, but since we will not be playing New London for the duration of this event, I don't think that's actually super relevant, and it could actually hint at Evelina being the clear victor here. Evelina has played so clean, so much power, so much distance the entire way through. Her putting obviously is her downfall, and that is very evident today, missing all of her 6 C2 putts and missing 6 C1 putts. But really, if she can just stay consistently in bounds with only 4 OBs so far and keep in the same manner as Isaac with the insane power and shot shaping that she has been able to do on each of these events, there's definitely a world where she runs away with it, even if she does have some pretty mid putting. But with that said, we've seen a lot more good trends from Holland recently, so the potential for Evelina to really fall apart in these final couple of rounds is definitely there. But if I had to put money on it, I think I'm picking Evelina because she truly has so much distance and can throw straight much better than anybody else. And before we get to MPO, there's one player that I just want to mention a little bit, and that is Henna, who honestly could be in a solid 3rd place right now if it wasn't for tremendously bad putting with 3 holes where she 3-putt. And I guess part of this was during the stretch where the entire stream was down, so for the most part you'll never see this, but we are really getting to the point where Henna has to just totally start from anew and figure out what is going on in her brain that will not allow her to throw any amount of confidence on these putts. Speaking from personal experience, I know how this feels, but Henna is such a strong thrower, so if she could just fix the putting just a little bit, she would be way more in the mix. But for now, it is almost unwatchable because it is so tense every time she putts from any amount of distance in a way that I thought only Evelina could do. But honestly, right now, Evelina's putting is looking fine. It's not good, it's not great, but it's looking totally fine. Let's go to MPO. Now, I cannot believe this, but Gannon Burr was right. Isaac is looking to be the clear contender to run away with this. Leading by 4 strokes, made 4 school 2 putts today, and just looking insanely dialed, insanely locked in. Every single throw, it looks to be just exactly how he planned it, with obviously the exception of a few holes, but for the most part, there was never too much concern. And when you're making 57% of your school 2 putts, you are doing something right, and I really just don't understand how this is the case, but whenever Isaac enters a major, he just totally flips a switch, and he becomes one of the most dominant players that even peak Paul McBeth might falter to. And watching his game live, it is crazy how fast he throws everything. There's such a little amount of time focused on each shot, but it looks so perfect and effortless, and it really feels like no one else can touch him at this very point in time. But with that said, the player in 2nd place might have a chance of it, and that is Joey Buckets, almost looking as dialed as Isaac, and it is so cool to watch, even if I can only catch glimpses, because there are so many people watching League Card that it honestly feels like a riot at times. But again, like what I said in FPO, if I had to bet, I'm gonna pick on Isaac. His shot shaping and power fit so well on these courses, and even if it is just Ivy, I think this will still align very well for his game, and I think the stress will slowly eat away at Joey. But with that said, if we do get a Joey Buckets win, that would be so hype. I would be so stoked for him. But you may be wondering who else is actually in it. Well, it is a swarm of people that I cannot believe are all so close. At 6 strokes back, we have Nicholas, who has played pretty well, but just really popped off in the 3rd round, shooting the hot round of 9 under. And again, if there was a world where Nicholas wins, I would also be incredibly stoked for him, but it definitely feels a little bit unlikely. But then under that, we get a wall of players that I will list off. But at 18 under, we have Luke Taylor, Calvin, Simon. At 17 under, we have Eagle, Sullivan Tipton, Ricky, Evan Smith. And then under that, we have a bunch of players at 16 and 15 under. And then we have a bunch of players that are just 1 or 2 strokes behind that. And I think this is the cutting off point for who will win this event. I think almost certainly it'll be Isaac or Joey, with the potential for Simon or Nicholas to clutch up, but it still feels very improbable. I would love to know what you guys think. This is getting very chaotic, very interesting, and I'm so excited to be on the front lines to watch it all. So with that, be sure to subscribe. I'm sure this probably is not my best video, but thank you guys so much for watching. With that, Wild Runs, signing out. Peace.
Beth at 69.
I just told myself, you got to will this one in there. Whatever you have, just will it in there.
This man is unbelievable. This is what athletes live for. This is the moment.